we need to work with the nature of our mind. Our wiring is our wiring. And we're not here, at least in these lives, we're not here to talk about all the different ways of why you developed ADHD and why you're impulsive and all these things. The only answer you need to know about why your mind is wired that way is because it benefits you. I should qualify that by saying it benefited you greatly growing up. The nature of ADHD is a very strong theory that resonates with me of the origins of ADHD is that your environment was such growing up that it was so, I'll say some level of volatility, some level of unknown anxiety, that it was too much to stay engaged with it, and you had to pull out. You had to disengage with your environment. And then you engage with it, and then you pull out. And then it just became kind of automatic. But that whole act of engaging, it's a little heavy, it's a little tough, I'm going to pull out. What a great coping mechanism for a child. What a great coping mechanism. It helped you survive some really tough years, lonely years maybe, confusing years. And so just however your mind is wired, if you're wired towards shutdown, if you're wired for chasing, if you're impulsive or ADHD, whatever it is, just know that it was born out of some sort of survival strategy and it served you really well. So now, as an adult, you're wired with a little bit of impulsivity, which means when that trigger happens, your window might be a little bigger. Whereas other people who don't have that particular coping mechanism of ADHD, they might have a different coping mechanism and they have their whole host of challenges, right? They're not better than you, but their window might be different. No problem. You're just working with whatever window you can. And let's say your window is always going to be a certain amount where that impulsivity happens and then you catch it. Great. I care less about how often people argue or have big fights. And I care more about what is the repair. Are you able to repair? I'm not asking questions like, how long did it take you to emotionally regulate? Or how long did it take you to, get out of impulsive thoughts and behaviors? I care about, hey, when you two found a time to talk, whatever that time is for both of you, you work it out, whether it's later that night or the next morning or 2 days from now, what was that repair like? And as you start to build those foundational blocks of proper repair, which includes, being able to learn to take accountability, apologies, remorse, making amends, being able to put yourself in the other person's shoes of empathy and having understanding for your own self-empathy, self-understanding, and get more curious about, why did I do this? Why did I say these things? This cruel version of me is not me. This doesn't even feel like me. And you go back to childhood just to put some pieces together, not to blame any parents. You go back, put some pieces together, and then you have an understanding of, oh, that's why I do what I do. And then in comes compassion. You get curious, and then you get compassionate curiosity. And when you can have this perspective of either yourself and the other person, repair conversations, they become easier. And as repair becomes easier, that window just naturally kind of shrinks a little bit, where it doesn't take 3 days to get to a good repair conversation. It might take 2 days. But don't worry about that impulsive nature, because given the right circumstances of a compassionately curious environment, a receptive partner, an empathetic partner, I find that when people are understood and given the benefit of the doubt, where their good intentions are seen and heard, that impulsivity really quiets.